and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, for the all-important game of keep, sell, or loan. We are going to be talking today about every single Barca player, because now we are into the summer transfer window. It is time for some big decisions to be taken at the club. It's all going to be about opinions today, and I also want to know yours in the comments down below. So let's run through the players, and let's see where we end up. So let's first of all begin here with somebody who is staying at the club. There was a little bit of doubt surrounding Szczęsny entering the summer, but he will renew his contract for another season, and he will be our second goalkeeper throughout the coming campaign. I thought he was solid, a very solid pair of hands when called upon, of course, last season. I also think his character is really important there inside of the dressing room, an experienced head as well. Great to see Szczęsny continuing at the club. But what of Iñaki Peña? Because obviously he was the man we were calling upon until midway through the season, and that all changed very suddenly. He was quite hurt by that. He was quite taken aback by that decision there from Hansi Flick, and I think he's unlikely to stay at the club now. He's not really going to want to be the third goalkeeper here. So I think this summer Iñaki Peña will be leaving the club, and that is also the case for Marc-Andre ter Stegen. He is gone. The club do not want to keep ter Stegen. They have decided here his time is up. Hansi Flick does not count on him, does not see him there as part of his plans, does not trust him in any way, and the board now are going to have to find a way to get ter Stegen out of the club. We know that he's on pretty big wages. We know that he is a senior figure, of course, in the squad. It's not going to be easy, but those conversations with ter Stegen will start very, very soon, but it's most likely going to be a case of allowing him to leave for absolutely nothing, to get those wages gone, and to basically help him decide to leave the club. Then, of course, we have Jules Koundé, who he will be staying. Make no mistake about that. Somebody we really did rely upon last season. Got injured, of course, at the end, which really did hurt us in many ways, but I cannot wait to see more of Jules Koundé next season. Eric Garcia, he's going to be a vital part of the squad once again as well. I thought he had a very, very good season there. Wherever he was deployed, Flick was a big fan of his. He actually kept him, of course, in January when he was linked away from the club, and I don't see him going now. No chance do I see Flick allowing Eric Garcia to leave. He's also going to play a part at right back next season, and he will be staying. But what then of Hector Fort? I think this is an interesting one here, because he's one of those players who barely played, didn't he, last season? He didn't really grow at all in terms there of game time, in terms of developing as a player. So I would certainly keep the door open for a potential loan deal, especially if we do actually sign a right back. We may not do that, but if we did, definitely thought would have to go out on loan. But I think otherwise, is he going to play? Is he going to get opportunities here? We want depth, of course, at right back. I'd rather have him than not have him, but he does need to be playing a bit more football. So it depends there on how Hansi Flick sees him ahead of the next season. Pau Cubarsí, of course he's going to be staying. Make no mistake about that. He is an essential part of the present and the future of this club, as is Inigo Martinez. I mean, what a season he had. Absolutely extraordinary there. So glad to see him continuing here at Barca, a vital part of our defence. And if he can maintain that level heading into next season, we will all be very, very happy. We also can't forget the players as well returning from loan. And I say returning, I mean hopefully not returning in the case of Clement Longley. We have to get rid of him by all means necessary. And again, it's unlikely to be a sale. We're unlikely to actually get any real money for him, but we're going to try and give him away. Atleti want to sign him. He wants to stay there. So hopefully that is going to happen. But what about Andreas Christensen? I think that's an interesting one there, because Christensen, of course, spent so much of the season on the sidelines there with that long-term injury. But he came back and he was wonderful. He was absolutely perfectly suited to the Hansi Flick defence. And I've got to admit, every time I see rumours there linking Christensen with an exit, I get a bit sad, I get a bit frustrated. I don't want to see him leaving this summer. I'm sure there will be people interested. I'm sure there will be offers made, perhaps. But I would rather keep him here and deploy him at the heart of that Hansi Flick back line, because then I would look at Araujo And I would say of the two there, of Christensen, of Araujo, who's more suited? Whose characteristics there are more suited to that Hansi Flick back line? For me, it's Andreas Christensen. Araujo still hasn't quite made the impact that he was hoping for on his return from injury. I still don't think there that he has the full trust of Hansi Flick, and rightly so in my opinion. So I would say on him, it's very much open. I wouldn't say for absolute sure he's going to be here. He's going to stay at the club. The exit door is still partially open on Araujo. From there, of course, we are going to be keeping hold of Alejandro Balde, one of the standout performers from the past season there. And again, when he got injured, we knew all about it. That is why, in my opinion, we do still need to strengthen the left-back area. Because, yeah, we've got somebody like Gerard Martin. I think it's going to be interesting to see what actually happens with him this summer. Of course, right now we're hearing a few exit rumours there. Wolves are reportedly interested in signing Gerard Martin. Whether he will be open to that move, we're going to have to wait and see, because obviously with him, he does actually have Flick's trust. You know, that's a very important thing to note here. Flick does have faith in him, and of course, we're happy to back Flick. We're happy here to back whatever decisions that he makes, but I would just argue, is Gerard Martin enough to provide that backup there for Alejandro Balde? In my opinion, we definitely need more. And there's no doubting that Gerard Martin did improve. You know, if you look at the start of last season and where he finished it, he did get better. You've got to give him some credit for that. But in my opinion, it's still not enough there. We need more at left back. We need to strengthen it. And that may actually happen if Gerard Martin leaves the club. Pedri, well, obviously he's staying. You know, there's no point in talking about that any further. Pedri, one of the first names on the team sheet, one of the best players in our team this season, he is absolutely staying at the club. And then you've got De Jong, and that, like we spoke about recently, is one of the most pressing issues in the team right now. We don't want to allow him there to run into that final year of the contract, and I'm actually very hopeful right now. I'm feeling very positive about these talks with Frankie. I think that he will end up staying, and I think that we will manage to agree there a renewal with him, and it all comes really after a dramatic change to everybody in the second half of the season there. His level dramatically improved. Hansi Flick really did get the best out of him, and I think that Frankie really enjoyed his football in this team. So I think Frankie will stay, and hopefully we get that renewal sorted as soon as possible. Marc Asado missed, of course, a large chunk at the end of the season there with injury, but he'll be back, and he was outstanding. We can't forget how good he was at the start of the season there. Again, a player really, really helpful in this Flick system. So he's going to be staying there in midfield. And can I just say, Marc Bernal, he missed the whole season with injury, but he's going to be like a new signing. He is going to be absolutely wonderful in that midfield. I cannot wait to see him back, and he really will be like a massive addition for us there. You're adding such quality. You know, he's got huge potential as a player. Flick really did like the look of him throughout pre-season, put him in there at the start of the season. Such was his admiration for him, and I cannot wait to see him back there. Hopefully in pre-season there, he's going to start to work his way back to be ready around September time, I would say, on Marc Bernal. And then we've got Oriol Romeu. Well, he is another one returning from loan that hopefully, yeah, we kind of got to get rid of him. You know, he's not going to be hanging around. He's not going to be staying at the club. He's got no part here, unfortunately, in our midfield. Oriol Romeu, would you like to go back to Girona? Would you like to go elsewhere? Anywhere will do, but unfortunately, it will not be at Barca. Then there is the topic of Gavi as well in midfield. Now, it's interesting on Gavi right now because there have been a few rumours here and there, you know, linking in with a move away with some big offers from elsewhere, but I just don't see it. You know, I don't see Gavi leaving the club at all. He wants to succeed here. This is his club. You know, he bleeds Blaugrana, and Gavi will be staying, no doubt about it. And I think he will have a better season, you know, in the next one. I really, really do. I think it was a tough one for him, returning, of course, from such a lengthy time away. It does take time to get going. It does take time there to get that sharpness back, and I think Gavi will be back really, really close to his best there in the next campaign, which I'm excited about. Dani Olmo, now he's going to stay, but there have again been some rumours about him. You know, there've been rumours linking him with a move there to Manchester City. Clubs interested there in signing him, which you can understand, but I think with him, it's very, very simple. We want to see more of him. You know, when he's on the field, he is absolutely perfect. He's such a brilliant player. You can see why Flick was so keen to sign him, but he has to just keep himself as injury-free as possible. I know that he can't really control that in many ways. We know that he also had a lot of stress about the registration, which wasn't helpful. All of that has been and gone now. He should be in a much, much better place, and hopefully we see him stay fitter for longer in the coming season. But what about Fermin Lopez? Because he's another player there where, again, there's clubs looking at him. There's clubs thinking, okay, this is a very, very talented player. We could pay big money to get him, and Barca maybe could sell him for quite big money. But at the end of the day, we want to keep him. You know, we saw how important he could be there at the end of the season, and especially when you've got somebody like Dani Olmo, who isn't exactly the most fit player ever. You know, he is going to miss some time. He's maybe not going to be able to play every single game, and that's what you need players like Fermin Lopez, who, given their opportunity, absolutely snatched it. And let's be honest here, Fermin, he will be wanting that number one attacking midfield spot. He will be thinking, okay, if I keep performing in this way, if I keep scoring the kind of goals that I have been, I'm going to work my way in. And why not? He has been absolutely outstanding there towards the end of the season. But what about Pablo Torre? I think this is a big one. I really, really do, because of all the players, like we said last season, the one that was really probably most harshly treated, it was Pablo Torre. Somebody who does have a lot of talent, somebody who, given their opportunity, did perform, you know, did shine, did really show a lot of quality. And yeah, he just got nothing. You know, he got absolutely no minutes, barely, no run of games, no momentum at all here. So I think for him, he has to go out on loan. You know, if he's not going to get more football, which, let's face it, with Barca strengthening their squad, with Barca actually looking to bolster their options, it's unlikely the situation with Pablo Torre is going to get better, unless Flick, you know, really tries to play him more. We're going to have to wait and see. But I think for him, a loan deal to, you know, a pretty good club. You know, go and get some regular games, go and play maybe in La Liga for a top team. I think it would be great to see what he can do, because there's a lot of talent in there, there's a lot of quality, but we have to see it. And he simply has to be playing more football. And then, of course, you've got Lamine Yamal. You've got a player there who is not going anywhere. Never, ever, ever are we letting Yamal leave. You know, he's going to be here till he's 40. We're not letting him leave. I'm sorry, it's just not happening. Yamal is a Barca player through and through, and the most exciting talent in the world right now. Rafinha, you know, he's a player that in previous transfer windows, guys, don't forget, he's been linked away. You know, many times here we spoke about, is Rafinha going to stay? Is he actually going to stay at the club? He's had interest as well, of course, recently from Saudi Arabia. But there's no doubt now, this is where he wants to be. We want him here. Such an essential part, you know, not only on the ball, but off it as well in Hansi Flick's team. He has had an absolutely outstanding season, and I just want to see it keep going. You know, I want to see him follow up this season here with another of that kind of quality. It's a big ask, but I do believe that Rafinha can make it possible. But what about Ansu Fati? You know, for me, it looks like the writing is on the wall with him right now. You know, he survived in January. He managed there to dig his heels in and stay at the club, even when we were trying to shift him. But I just think now, even he knows, look, I've not played. You know, Hansi Flick has made it crystal clear now, look, you are not in my plans. So Ansu Fati, in terms of his career, in terms of his future in the game, he's got to go elsewhere. He's got to play. And we're talking right now about Monaco, a loan deal initially that it'll be, but there will be an option to buy, and probably not a very big option to buy as well in that deal. And I'd just be fascinated, really, once Ansu does go, what's going to happen? Because obviously we saw him at Brighton, didn't really take off there either, had more injury problems during his time in the Premier League. But if he goes somewhere, for instance, like France, are we going to see him really catch fire again? Can that happen? You know, can Ansu Fati really recapture his best level? I'm interested to see, and I do think his future lies away from the club. Ferran, though, he's staying. And it's another player who in recent years we've been saying, surely he's got to go. Surely he can't stay at the club. You know, there's nothing really happening here for Ferran. Last season, full credit, he came out the blocks. You know, he really worked hard to make himself a fixture in this team. You know, he deputised so well for Robert Lewandowski. He also applied himself in other areas of this Flick team too. And he was brilliant in front of goal. You know, off the bench, the super sub. But not only that as well, he's got lots of good characteristics. His movement is outstanding. He presses very well. And he is now a key part of this team. And on Lewandowski then, I think this has to be his last season. You know, we know the goals that he scored. We know that he's an absolutely extraordinary centre-forward, one of the best that we've seen, you know, in this generation. He is right up there. But I do think this is probably his last season at the club here. We know that he's on big wages. That's something as well that's going to play a part here. And I've no doubt here we're going to call upon him again to score the goals. But we still have to see rotation. And I still wouldn't be surprised maybe to see us just being open to the idea of forwards here. Should we be looking at the market? Should we be seeing who's out there? Because then I'd move on to somebody like Pau Victor. You know, what's going to happen with him? Because it's another player there that's barely played, needs to be playing more. We saw him play in pre-season, and he was very good. Scored some absolutely fantastic goals. Really good finishing. But he's just got nothing going. There's been nothing really happening for him in this Barcelona team here, and it's another player that needs to play. So I would suggest that he goes out on loan. You know, Barca may even think about selling him if they got offers. But then if he leaves, you still need somebody to replace him, because we still can't really go into the new season here with just Lewandowski and Ferran as your number 9s. We need more quality, we need more depth there in that area, and of course we played players like Dani Olmo as a false 9, that can happen. We know that we're able to be very flexible in those areas, but yeah, if Pau Victor was to leave, and Ansu as well, I would be looking at those forward areas thinking, okay, do we need to bring somebody else in? Should we be trying to look at that area too in this transfer window, guys? So let me know there on that point. Do you think that it should actually be one of our many priorities this summer in that number 9 role? Should we be looking at forwards here this summer? Do let me know your thoughts on that in the comments down below, guys, and let me know here your thoughts on all of the other players. Which players for you should definitely leave? What is your list here of departures from the club this summer? Let me know that in the comments down below, and I do think we're gearing up here for a very, very exciting and decisive summer here for Barca. It's a big one for us, and I'm really, really looking forward to it, guys. So thank you here today for tuning in and for all of your great support. I will be back soon, of course. But until next time, as always, Vesca, Hail Barca!